Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tombstone Tourist. Today, I'm wrapping up my visit to Oakdale Cemetery here in Wilmington, North Carolina, by visiting the final resting place of one of the most recognized people in broadcast journalism. For more than 50 years, he was one of the most recognized figures in television news, first at NBC, later on at ABC. Today, I'm visiting the final resting place of David Brinkley. David Brinkley was born on July the 10th, 1920, here in Wilmington, North Carolina. While still in high school, he began writing for the Wilmington Morning Star, and after graduating from high school, he attended college before entering the military in 1940. After completing his military service, he moved to Washington, D.C., where he eventually took a job with NBC News. In his early days with NBC, David was based in Washington and eventually became the network's White House correspondent, in addition to providing content for the network's evening news program that was hosted by John Cameron Swayze. Then, in 1956, NBC decided to use dual anchors for its coverage of the national political conventions. As a result, NBC introduced the nation to Ched Huntley and David Brinkley. These two would become two of the most well-known and well-respected news anchors in the business. The dual anchors proved to be a huge success for NBC, so on October 29, 1956, the network revamped its evening news format by debuting the Huntley-Brinkley Report. With Ched Huntley anchoring from New York and David Brinkley anchoring from Washington, the original program was 15 minutes long, with the pair alternating stories from their respective studios. The Huntley-Brinkley Report was so successful that on September 9, 1963, it was expanded to 30 minutes, joining the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite as the nation's leading evening news programs. During the 1960s, the Huntley-Brinkley Report set the standard and achieved a number of milestones, including being the first of the evening news programs to be broadcast in color on November 15, 1965. During its 14-year run, the Huntley-Brinkley Report covered some of the most important news stories of the 20th century, including the assassinations of President Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., along with the birth of our nation's space program and man's landing on the moon in 1969. In February of 1970, Ched Huntley announced that he would be retiring later in the year. On July 31, 1970, the Huntley-Brinkley Report came to an end. It remains one of the most respected news programs of all time. Ched Huntley retired to his ranch in Montana, where he died in 1974. David Brinkley, on the other hand, continued to work as co-anchor with John Chancellor for the new NBC Nightly News. David remained with NBC until 1981, when he left the network and moved to ABC, where he became the host and chief contributor for This Week with David Brinkley, a weekly political news program that aired on Sunday mornings. This Week revamped the weekly Sunday morning news shows and set the standard for political journalism. David remained with This Week until November 10, 1996, when he moved into semi-retirement. Over the next few years, David continued to provide ABC with special features and commentary, but in 1997, he fully retired, ending a career that spanned more than 50 years. During his career, David received a number of awards, including being inducted into the Television Hall of Fame in 1988, and in 1992, President George H.W. Bush presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In retirement, David enjoyed life at his homes in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and Houston, Texas. He often said, "I've been a reporter, covering many things, and making a living by writing and talking about them." David Brinkley, the elder statesman of American broadcast journalism, passed away at his home in Houston, Texas on June 11, 2003. He was 82 years old. David Brinkley is resting here in this small family plot along with his sister Margaret and his parents, his father William and his mother Mary, and another brother, Jesse. Well, this wraps up my visit to Wilmington's Oakdale Cemetery. If you have a favorite memory of David Brinkley or the Huntley-Brinkley Report, let me hear from you in the comments. If you found this video interesting, please consider giving me a thumbs up below. And if you want to keep up with my future travels, please ring that bell and subscribe. For now, stay healthy, stay safe, and be sure to enjoy life's journey. And I'll see you down the road. So long, everyone.